again. Welcome to another exciting episode of Angels, Fairies, and Witches. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Laura.
Now, I think the first thing we need to say is that hopefully we've gotten the word out there. We have a different time slot, okay? We are on...
Time Warner Cable, Saturdays, Channel 34 at 10 a.m. Time Warner Cable, Sundays, Channel 34, 4 p.m.
Okay, Saturday 10 a.m., Sunday 4 p.m., both on Channel 34. Okay, that being said, welcome. Today, if we've timed this properly, we're right about the first couple days of February, and that is a witch holiday known as Imbolc, traditionally on February 2nd. Now, you might say, well, that's also Groundhog's Day. What is the similarity? What is the connection?
What is the connection?
Well, seeing as how you asked, let me tell you. Okay, Imbolc, and I'm going to show you a few interesting spells. Imbolc actually translates to in the belly, referring to pregnant sheep, and it also refers to ewe's milk, E-W-E, milk, so that's female sheep. Not like ew, although, yeah, female sheep milk could be a little ew. Anyway, it's a time for rebirth. It's a little earlier than you would think the start of spring, but it's exactly the halfway point between the winter solstice and the summer.
The spring solstice.
And and the summer equinox. It's exactly the halfway point. It's a holiday that used to be called Lupercalia because back in Rome, this is when they would celebrate the two Roman gods, Romulus and Remus, because they were suckled by a she-wolf. I'm not making this up. It sounds like I am, but I'm not. Anyway, then the Catholics came in. Okay, hear me out. I'm not going to dog them on this one. They changed the holiday of Imbolc to Candlemas because it's exactly 40 days after, allegedly, the birth of Christ on Christmas. Now, for Jewish women, because again, Christ was a Jew, born to a Jew, they'd never remember this, but it's true. Oh, look at me rhyming. Anyway, so in the Jewish culture, after a Jewish woman gives birth to a male child, apparently if she gives birth to a female, no one really cares. After she gives birth to a male child, for 40 days, she is unclean. What kind of crap is that? We give life, but yet we're unclean. Love my Jewish friends out there. Anyway, so Candlemas, February 2nd, is exactly 40 days after Christmas. So it was at that day that Mary brought, well, wait a second, if she was a virgin. All right, no, anyway. That she brought Jesus to the temple, first, showed the baby. So, and then she had to go jump in the mikveh. And what is the mikveh, or the mitzvah? You used to be Jewish.
Mikvah and mitzvah are two different things. Mikvah is a bath. Mitzvah is a good deed.
So which one am I talking about?
Mikvah.
Mikvah. It's a purification bath.
That's right.
And what's the other one?
A good deed.
A good deed.
Mitzvah.
Okay, one more time. What am I talking about?
Mikvah.
Mikvah, the purification bath. Man, we're not doing that again. So that's when she got purified. So even though I have some interesting little spells and rituals to show you about Imbolc, I would actually, my hetero life mate here has had a cough for quite a while. And since it is February and it's still that time of year where you get cough and flu and whatnot, I'm not trying to put doctors out of business, but I have a wonderful home remedy, and she's going to be my guinea pig.
Yay.
Isn't that exciting? So why don't you slide on over this way, and I'm going to go to the stove. So here we are, and I'm going to prepare homemade cough syrup for my ailing hetero life mate. Now this is really very simple. You can all do it at home. Basic ingredients and intention, okay? So as you can see on the stove, I have an old-fashioned, everything in this kitchen is old-fashioned, pot of just plain old boiling water, okay? I'm going to add to that some fresh lemon. Now this is, I mentioned this in other episodes, this is not a knife that I use for everyday, cooking. This is my spell knife. It's called an athame. So an athame is you'd look at it more as if a sacred tool. So when I'm going to slice this, I'm not just cutting up lemons. You understand? It's more sacred than that, more ritual than that. So 3 in numerology is a very sacred number. 3 refers to health and prosperity. So that's why I'm going to cut this thrice.
Very good.
Thrice. Okay? And as I'm cutting, I'm thinking health, joy, and well-being. Got that? Health, joy, well-being. We're not going to use the ends, although we could, and we are going to just dump them in the boiling water like so. Okay. We're going to add to that some fresh sage. Smells like pot, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd know what pot smelled like.
Okay. Smells like pot. Anyway, sage has a very antiseptic quality. So with the sage, I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to tear it, okay? And again, 3 times. Health, well-being. Why don't you give me a word that means health? Okay,
Yeah,
once
right.
again, vitality.
There you go.
That's what you were going to say, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Took the words right out of her mouth.
Right out of my mouth.
Well, since you're just going to sit there and look pretty, why don't you cough and so they can get a real feel of what it sounds like.
How's that?
Well, it wasn't so delicate the times before. Okay, now, see what I'm doing here? I'm trying to do all the spell work and suck in my stomach at the same time. If you all think this is easy. Okay, now here we have a little bit of honey. Let me explain something about honey. Honey also has antiseptic property. There's a lot of different spells that can be done with honey. It's good if you put it on a wound. You could mix it with some hot water and take it orally several times a day for hay fever, bronchitis, asthma. I'm sure my producer would want me to put in something now about a little disclaimer, but always check with your doctor first before trying any of these things at home. Blah, blah, blah. But in the interest of safety, why not? So here, again, now this is organic honey. I feel like when you're doing these spells and rituals, the most purest forms of these ingredients, the better. You don't want to add chemical and all those things on the back of labels that I can't pronounce. You know, so again, organic honey. The ingredient in here is honey. Okay? Isn't that right, honey? See what I did there? Okay. You're going to add a dollop, if you will. Okay, now we are going to set this to boiling, and we're going to do a little stirring. So just to recap, we have plain old tap water that's boiling, slices of lemon. If you're going to, make mass quantities of that, you're going to need a lot more lemon, fresh sage, and honey. You could also add to it some Dead Sea salt. Now, I'm telling you the truth, it tastes like hell. It really does. But what it does is it relieves the cough. It soothes inflammation of the lungs. You can even add like a jigger of brandy to it or something like that. Do I have any brandy in the house?
I think you may, actually.
All right. Well, okay. So now this really has to boil itself down. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is get my Hetero Life made a cup. Let's look at this here. She who must be obeyed.
That would be this one.
It would be. It is my mug. All right. Now, oh, again, you know what? You want to let this simmer for really about a half hour due to time constraint on the show. I would say it's probably hot enough. So as I continue with this, you just sip it. Mmm.
Yeah. Let's let it cool a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, it can't be scorchingly hot, but it has to be on the warm side.
Alrighty.
Okay, so that's the homemade cough syrup. Another thing that I want to show you, since we're talking about Imbolc, you're going to have to drink that fast because I have another assignment for you.
Oh, great.
Okay, so we talked about Imbolc being known as in the belly or ewe's milk, female sheep lactating milk. So it's basically a holiday that gets celebrated with dairy food. Now, isn't there also a Jewish holiday that gets celebrated with dairy?
Oh, sure. Ask me that now.
I was going to make a comparison, but unfortunately I'm not really sure about this. So it's dairy products. I'm going to show you how to make your own butter, okay? Mason jar. This is, I don't want to show any product name, but this is heavy whipping cream, okay? It's not milk. It's not half and half. It's not low fat, 1%. No, none of that. It's heavy whipping cream, okay? You want to leave it out maybe an hour or two just so it gets to be room temperature. And then you add, again, depending how much you want to make. So we're just going to do a little bit here. And then you seal it really tight. Now the idea behind this, that's it, right? Heavy whipping cream and a jar with a tight lid. I'm showing a little brassiere here. Don't my boobs look fabulous in this dress?
Oh, stop.
Well, I wasn't asking for an outright compliment.
I hope you weren't asking me.
No.
Ask your producer.
Oh, my producer's giving me the thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so heavy whipping cream in a jar. That's it. And then you have to shake it for 20 to 30 minutes.
Whoa.
Like so. Well, hurry up. This is going to be your job.
I get to be the shaker.
All right, see, I'm tired already, so. Did you have enough of that?
I had some. It was scorchingly hot. Still.
Just shake. Okay, so she's going to be making butter. If this proves to be, could you not do it that way? That looks a little randy, and it's a family show, especially now the time frame we have. That's 10 a.m. on Saturdays and 4 p.m. on Sundays. Okay, that's better. Anyway, so let me tell you a little bit more about Imbolc. I discussed with you the, candle mass. Also, it was known as Saint Bridget's Day. Now, let me tell you about Bridget. In pagan culture, Bridget is a goddess, and they call it the triple aspect goddess, which means she not accompanies, not accomplishes, encompasses.
Encompasses. Very good.
You think Rachel Ray has these problems, cooking and talking at the same time? Anyway, she encompasses the triple goddess aspect. That means simultaneously she is the maid, the young, sweet girl. She is the mother, the nurturer. And then they would say also the crone. I think that's a horrible name, so I prefer matriarch. Maiden, mother, matriarch. Okay? So here's what happened. She was a really big deal in Ireland. And I know I can't ever have a show that I don't bring up Christianity, but it's prevalent. When the pagans got Christianized, what is wrong with my speech today? Maybe I should have a couple glasses of wine. Do my best work on that. Okay, well, when Christians tried to make pagans into Christians, they tried to get rid of Bridget. But she was such a goddess of the hearth and the home and the crops and the protection, and they had a flame that was lit for her continuously, that they really couldn't eradicate her. So what they ended up doing was making her a saint. So then Bridget became Saint Bridget. And there's many churches named after her. I think you should put a little more oomph into it. Are you feeling oomph? It's a little lackadaisical here. Come on, there's a product that they advertise on TV called the Shake It, and it's supposed to alleviate the underarm flab. This is the Imbolc version of the Shake It. All right. Have at it.
Try not to be obnoxious on camera.
Anyway, St. Bridget, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we are going to make Bridget's bread braid. Let's say that again. Bridget's bread braid. Okay? So here we go. We're just going to clear off a little space. Obviously I didn't prep enough, so I have to dive down and get the cookie sheet. Right in front of the microphone. That had to be loud. Okay, so once again, not showing any particular company, but any of you that use preformed dough, you probably know which one this is. Now, if you have the time, I would recommend that you make your own dough and roll it out and knead it, but, you know, modern pagan society, we don't really have the time. As a matter of fact, there is something called PST, okay? That's known as Pagan Standard Time. And what that means is that when people have gatherings or open circles or rituals or sabbats for the holidays, pagans tend to not show up on time, ever. So I know what you're thinking, okay? And I don't know if I could say it on camera.
No, you can't.
Okay, but we have a lot of
friends.
we have a lot of friends, okay, of every color, every nationality, every faith, and this is what they said. This is not what two white girls said. These are our black friends who, whenever I have a gathering, are always 2 to 3 hours late, and they say it's black people time. So that's kind of similar to Pagan Standard Time. Anyway, so again, we're going to make Bridget's bread braid. Okay, stop getting naughty with the container for a minute. That's all right. We'll get back to this. Here's what I need you to do.
More jobs.
More jobs. Okay. We're going to make 3 strands. Now, again, when you're doing this, you really want to think about what Bridget stood for. Home, hearth, protection, crops, livestock. People have livestock here in New York, right?
Yeah.
Upstate New York. Oh, and by the way, a little self-promotional plug. We have been getting an awful lot of phone calls. People that have seen the show like you guys are watching now. But also our biggest audience, I think, is those that see us on YouTube. So, a little leftover from the cough syrup. So yeah, if you go on YouTube, or you can go on Google and type in, like it's one word, Angels, Fairies, Witches, you get to see each and every one of our shows, which at this point total about 28. 28? Really?
Well,
Okay, drink more of the cough syrup. Get back to me on that. So
yeah.
Here we have, it's a family show, it's a family show, it's a family show. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take,
It's really not that bad.
what's not bad?
This, not bad, that bad tasting.
Well, it's very lemony, it's very sagey, and actually I didn't add Dead Sea salt, but I'm glad you like it. All right, so again, you have all 3 things here. And what you're going to do is make a braid. This is kind of like when they make Easter bread, okay? And you're just going to keep going with the braid. This is a sad looking braid, let me tell you, but you get the idea. The reason that you're making a braid is because she is the triple goddess, maiden, mother, and matriarch. All right, and then we're going to lay it flat. Lorena Bobbitt style. Remember her? I wrote a fan letter to her one time. I thought she was amazing. Okay, so anyway, and then into the oven it goes. We'll show you the finished product. You know what? This would probably cook a lot faster if I had remembered to turn the oven on. I'm just thinking, Rachel Ray started out this way. Okay, so would you be so kind as to put that to the side? At some point we'll have the finished product there. Okay, we don't have butter yet. Keep shaking. I got it all greased up. All right, so then Imbolc. Let me just see if I have any other spells I want to show you. Imbolc is a dairy holiday. Again, here it is February, so you're probably not even thinking anything remotely looks like spring. But if you really take a closer look, the buds are starting to come out on the trees. There is the sign that spring is coming. It's a time of renewal, a time of hope. If you don't feel well, make some of this homemade cough syrup. Anything you want to add?
Seems to be doing the job.
See that? Haven't heard her cough since. All right, so once you make the Bridget's bread braid, and once you make the homemade butter, again, you can add to this. It was just heavy whipping cream. You can add garlic, you can add honey, you can add herbs, you can leave it plain, you could add salt. And when you eat your feast on the eve of Imbolc, which is typically February 2nd, sometimes it's February 3rd, but almost, because it follows, all witch holidays follow the lunar calendar. So that means there's 13 full moons in a year. So when you're having your feast, again, try to make it mostly dairy. And you can use your homemade butter on your homemade bread.
And Bridget braid.
Your Bridget braid. And you can think about, it's always a good time with holidays, and I think this is true in any culture, that it reminds you to think of your ancestors. So if you think about all those that came before us and how they would gather around the fire, they would gather around the hearth. Now, she's going to be at this for 20 to 30 minutes, or until she gets tired and just gives up and goes to the refrigerator and gets the butter that I already have. But, you think about our ancestors that would have to churn butter. This would take hours and hours. And here we just use some, over there, pre-made dough, made a quick braid. We're going to pop it in the oven. Well, think about before when they used to have to
grind
the grain.
The grain.
And then what would they do? I don't actually know how to make bread from scratch.
And add the yeast so that it rises. And that's it. Probably a little bit of salt.
Kneading it,
absolutely.
And then into the fire. So my point is that these foods from days of yore are very easy for us to purchase or make at home. But it's nice to think about at a time when it was very difficult. And everything that our ancestors did was ritual. When they were churning the butter, what were they probably doing? Well, they were probably praying, or in whatever fashion, for the safety of their family, their kids, calling upon gods, goddesses, angels, whoever they liked. We got something there?
I think we do.
Ah!
I think we do.
How long have you been shaking that?
Well, not a half hour, obviously, but here, check it out.
All right. You're putting me to shame. Drink more of that cough syrup.
I am. Oh.
I'd like to say it's because my hands are a little greasy.
Yeah.
Not because I have absolutely zero upper body strength. I loosened it for you. Well, I don't know what we have here, but it looks like we got something going on. You made butter! Yay! Want to taste it?
Mm-mm.
No?
No. No, I've got cough syrup in me. I'd rather not throw butter down me.
Oh, that's good.
I'm sure it probably
That is really, seriously, wow.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This is excellent. All right, and what do we have here? Sweet cream whipped butter.
Keeps me around for the heavy labor.
That's sometimes the only reason I can think of. So, we're kind of a little out of time, but when we come back the next episode, I'm going to show you the finished product of the bread and the butter. So again, this is our new time slot. Hope you watch us on Saturdays and on Sundays, or maybe, if you're busy doing stuff or sleeping late, you can TiVo? No, TiVo is boxing.
Yeah, TiVo.
And then who's the guy, the football player?
Or DVR.
Isn't that Tebow also?
Tebow's the football player.
Right, so what's the boxing thing?
What?
Tebow, right? No, I'm not even... All right.
Tybo.
Tybo.
So
maybe you can tape us, because we're going to be on the same time. Saturdays 10 a.m., Sundays 4 p.m., both times channel 34. In the meantime, next week we're going to be doing some love spells, because it's getting close to Valentine's Day. And I'm going to show you the right way to do it so you don't F up your own karma accidentally. So in the meantime, when you celebrate Imbolc and have your dairy meal, again, you might want to call upon the goddess Bridget, or the saint Bridget, one and the same, and just ask her to come into the home, bless everything that goes on. A lot of times I call on Archangel Michael to keep the energy high in this house. But again, Bridget's another good one. As a matter of fact, to this day in England, her status is second only to St. Patrick. And we know what a big deal he is.
I have a question.
Okay.
Imbolc is a pagan holiday?
Well, pagan, witchcraft, druid.
And so that's...
But the Catholics celebrate it as Candlemas.
Candlemas.
Egyptians celebrated, this would have been a good question like 20 minutes ago. The Egyptians celebrated as the feast of the god Nut, N-U-T. It's like nut, but it's pronounced Nut. And they have, in their culture, they wait for snakes to emerge from the ground, see their shadow. Is this sounding familiar? Groundhog's Day. And I want to leave you with one thing, okay? Every culture believes that the weather on Imbolc predicts the weather for the rest of the year. If Imbolc is clear and bright, winter will have another bite. If Imbolc is clouds and rain, winter will never come again. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week.
Please give us a call at the numbers listed below, or email us at angelsfairieswitches@gmail.com.
They do this on Dancing with the Stars. Bye. Thank you for watching.
Be well.